Hello and welcome to Netflix vs. Cinema, the podcast that goes to the cinema every week, sees things and rates them out of 5, stays at home, watches things on various streaming platforms, rates them out of 5, puts them up against each other and sees where our money has been better spent this week. This week, are you better off going to the cinema or staying at home with your streaming platforms? My name is Tosin and I'm the host somewhere in the middle of the United Kingdom in a place called Bromsgrove. And joining me as always on the Isle of Wight is Sharon Bolland.
Hello.
And Shaun Harris.
Hiya.
Yes, Shaun making a return to the podcast after a couple of weeks. It might be about a month, but hey, I am not one to judge because I was actually thinking about it. You know, now I have a Cineworld Unlimited card with the Omniplex Cinema chain, and I've got to this point where I've got into a rhythm of seeing 2 films a week. But it made me think that there was a whole period when, kids were little and everything like that, where I went for months and I just had to rely on all of you guys for the cinema stuff. I was like, sorry guys, if it's left to me, Netflix and friends are winning this week. so I'm like, so if you need to take a couple of weeks away, if you need to go to a board game cafe, I am all for it. I am good with that. So let's kick off with what have we seen in the cinema this week?
Okay, so previous before, but this week I went to an unlimited showing of The Last Showgirl.
Oh yeah.
And I saw Captain America, A Brave New World, and then last week I watched The Brutalist. The
Brutalist, which Holly already reviewed. So I'll tell you what we'll do, because the Oscars are coming up, I think this weekend. As we record, the Oscars are coming up this weekend, which is going to be the final thing and all that. And there was I think the last episode that we recorded, it was just me and Sharon, and I was bemoaning the fact that the Oscar quality bump in cinema had definitely gone, because I saw 2 films that week that I really, really, really did not think were up to much, which were Love Hurts and Heart Eyes, which I thought, Shaun, I wouldn't recommend anybody watch them, but the only reason I wanted you to watch them was just because I wanted to see you angry. I wanted to see. I wanted to see your head blow up.
You might see me angry. You never know. You might see me angry today.
Oh, okay. This is the thing, because I know that there are some films on here that have. There's some films on here that have had, shall we say, mixed reviews in cinema. So we will see.
Trigger warning.
Yes.
Trigger warning for Shaun.
Trigger warning for Shaun. Okay, cool. And Sharon, how about you? What have you seen in the cinemas?
At cinema, I have seen Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.
Mm-hmm. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.
Because of I am currently dog sitting with a Velcro dog. I was not able to get away to the unlimited screening to see Last Showgirl, which I'm upset about because I really want to see that. So I am looking forward to this review.
Limited. I don't think I had a limited screening at my cinema. I don't think, because that's a film that is not actually coming out at the cinema. Like at my cinema on regular viewing. I have to sort of go and track it down, and that's one that I was keen to sort of try and find. All right, cool. And I saw Captain America: Brave New World. I think that's going to be an interesting discussion with me and Shaun. Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy. I saw that as well, and I also saw I'm Still Here, which is a Brazilian movie about the dictatorship in the 70s and everything like that. Shaun, I think you would like that. I think it's. Anyway, your history head and everything like that. I think we like that.
I'll have to check that. I'll have to check that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up for.
Do you reckon it'll still be out? Or?
I think it should be, because it's up for Oscars. It's up for Best Actress for Fernanda Torres.
The trouble is with the island is we don't sometimes get those sort of films. I haven't noticed that at all on the.
I think that it's also the fact that it's once it's a non-English film, then it's a bit iffy. It's like, if it's a non-English film, I think it either in the UK it seems it either has to be Polish or Indian to get a wide release.
Yeah.
So or it needs to be Polish, Indian, or just have like some random thing like Squid Game. All of a sudden it becomes a phenomenon, and that's when you see it. So but I think it will be around until the Oscars. If she wins, which I don't think she will, for her performance, then it'll be around a little bit more. But I really don't think Fernanda Torres is winning, even though her performance is amazing. But anyway, how about at home? What have we seen at home?
Well, I've been sort of watching stuff for some stretch. I'll tell you how this came about. I watched it. First of all, I watched a a film. It was a Western, and there was this actress in it called Faith Domergue, right? And, and I thought, oh, I've seen her in something else, and she was in a film called This Island Earth. And then it said, oh, she had a bit of a fling with Howard Hughes. So I was quite interested. So I thought I'd watch The Aviator again.
I feel like that was many people.
Yeah. It was hundreds, because I mean, there's a scene in that with like but anyway, so I watched The Aviator again, and then like on Prime it comes up with next one.
Like this. Yeah.
And then I watched Gandhi and Chaplin, which I hadn't actually seen, believe it or not, with old Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I've not seen Chaplin, so.
Oh, all right.
That was a bizarre one, wasn't it? That was the first time I'd seen it.
I saw it back in the day, but
yeah.
I think I saw Chaplin in the 90s. I think I saw that before I left Nigeria, so pre-1996.
See, I think with the 90s films, as I say, well, same with the 90s music, I was sort of quite a lot on the travels and all that, so I sort of missed quite a lot. It's quite funny the other day when like I listened to the quizzes on the music quizzes or whatever, like on the radio, and the 90s, if 90s questions come up, well, and 2000s, but movies and
Sean's like, no.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So yeah.
Sean's like, I spent my 90s doing a 70s rewatch. So I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, Sharon, how about you at home?
I've seen a largely forgettable film on Amazon Prime called After It Ends, because I saw Earth Abides. They suddenly think, oh, you must like post-apocalyptic fiction. So I've been bombarded with them. So I thought, I just gave in and I watched one.
You're like, okay, fine. If I watch one, maybe you leave me alone.
Yeah.
No,
what you
need to do is you need to watch it and then you need to rate it low. And if you rate it low, they'll stop recommending them to you.
See, I don't bother rating anything on Amazon because I just think, I don't want to feed the beast.
It's like, you give me some good stuff, but I just want to keep you at arm's length. I
just want to take what I want to watch, please.
Yeah. All right, cool. And all right, and I've seen all 3 seasons of a Channel 4 comedy drama called Big Boys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Big Boys, and I think there's another thing on Amazon Prime that Sean, I think you'd like. It's called, well, I'm interested to see whether you'd like it. It's called Secret Level. But the reason I'm saying that you might like it is that it is from the people who made Love, Death and Robots.
Oh, right. Okay. What's it called again?
Secret Level. Yeah, Secret Level. But when we come to review that, I'll explain why. I'll explain why I think you might like it and why I think you might not. So all right, cool. Now let us kick off with the big release. I think it's the big one. It's the... Well, okay, I'm going to call it the big one, Captain America Brave New World, because this is the one that has been designed to be a blockbuster, even though I am pretty sure that the one that's going to make more money is Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, because I went to the cinema to see that, and my God, I have not been in a cinema that has been that full since Avengers Endgame. There were two screens at the cinema I went to see it, and they were both sold out.
I went with my friend Gemma, and she said, "Oh, I looked up the film the day before. Plenty of seats. We can just get our tickets on the day." And so we went up there, and we couldn't sit together.
Yeah, I just one thing, quick thing, Sean. Public service announcement: if you want to see Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy, book your tickets before you leave your house. Don't just think you can turn up and watch it, because this thing is selling like gangbusters. Sorry, Sean, carry on.
Yeah, no, there was a film. I think it was. I don't know if you was with me, Sharon, or if it was Joe, or if it was both of us, but when they were showing 50 Shades of Grey or something like that, or something like that, we went. I'm sure we went in the lobby. We were going to see something else, but it was, you couldn't move. You couldn't move. It's like, wow. So these films, yeah. Oh wow.
Well, yeah,
I'm interested to hear that review, actually.
It just means to say that there is an audience out there. You've just got to make the films that they want to come and see.
100%. I mean, 100%. Let me put it this way. This is ostensibly the final Bridget Jones' story. Yeah. But after the response to this, I don't think this might be the final Bridget Jones film. Honestly. But anyway, That's not what we're supposed to be reviewing. We're supposed to be talking Captain America Brave New World. So, okay, Captain America Brave New World. This is the 30-something, I've lost count of how many films they've made in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So in this one, you have Sam Wilson, played by Anthony Mackie, and he is now Captain America. He's Captain America, and when the film kicks off, as these films usually kick off, he's in the middle of a mission to go retrieve something from somewhere in some forest place in somewhere, I think it's somewhere in South America. And it goes in, because the Captain America movies have lent into so before we had the Steve Rogers version of Captain America with Chris Evans, and I haven't put a timer on. They've lent into the sort of like almost sort of conspiracy thriller kind of thing. Like, if there's a place where the MCU movies are going to sort of like deal with politics, it's going to be in a Captain America movie. And with this, they do the whole thing where there's a reason, there's like a political machinations why Captain America has been asked to go retrieve this thing. By this time, you have Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, now played by Harrison Ford, previously played by William Hurt, before William Hurt died, who used to be, he is known in the Marvel lore as the general who hates the Hulk, and is always chasing the Hulk, and is always trying to get the Hulk. And his daughter, Betty, is Bruce Banner's girlfriend. That's how she's introduced in the comics. That's her main role in the comics, is she's a girlfriend, but her dad is trying to sort of like, capture this guy and like get rid of the Hulk. But he has gone up the ranks through the army and everything, and he's now the president. And and you have this whole, so you have these strands coming together. You have Captain America now, who's now Anthony Mackie. You have the original, if you've watched the TV show, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they introduced a character called Isaiah Bradley, who was a super soldier like Steve Rogers was, but he was black. And so because of that, they thought he can be Captain America. They kind of locked him up and experimented on him for 30 years. And they have that character in there as well. And plot happens, they end up at the White House, and all of a sudden Isaiah Bradley gets up and tries to kill the president. And so he gets locked up, and then Sam Wilson has to figure out what is going on here. Why did he try and do that? What's going on? And blah, 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 blah. We're going to go from here to there, find this guy, find the guy, find out who's behind it, and we're going to sort this stuff out. There's some things about this film that I like, and one of the biggest things I like about the fact is that this is the first film that actually pays attention to the Eternals, because there's some pretty seismic stuff that happened in the Eternals to do with something coming out of the ground. And so ever since that film has been out, it's been like this joke in Marvel that, hang on, if there was some big, massive, Titan-looking thing coming out of the earth in the Indian Ocean, shouldn't people be talking about it? But they haven't spoken about it for something like 10 films. And then in this one, they sort of like, it plays quite a big part in the plot. And I quite like that. Now, this is a film that has had I think it's had mixed reviews. Superfan Nina texted me before I watched this and told me, "Oh my God, it's so rubbish. I can't believe this. This happens, that happens." And once again, Shaun, like saying that you and her share the same brain, going like, "Oh, I can't believe that happened. This person stabs that person. Nothing happens. The other person stabs that person. And the guy got." And she goes off. And so I went to this film expecting to be like, okay, yeah, it's a substandard thing. Let's see, Marvel's still having problems. I really liked this. I really, really liked this. I was watching it and I kept waiting for this film to go bad or to go rubbish or for something stupid like somebody saying Martha. I was waiting for something like that to happen, and it didn't. And I actually really, really enjoyed this film.
I totally disagree.
Yeah. I know you disagree, Shaun. I know you disagree, Shaun. I could see it from the word go. I know you disagree. So Shaun, I'm gonna let you go, and you're gonna tell me everything you didn't like about this film.
Okay, release the Shaun.
Well, I could tell you most things I didn't like about the film, but the worst thing was old General Ross. Harrison Ford was lousy. What a horrible piece of acting that was. I really, really didn't believe him. To me, he was just there purely to the fact to get the paycheck, and he couldn't be bothered. And he didn't come across. I mean, I'm a fan of the comics and all that, and he was not a General Ross. So that really annoyed me. And then also, you knew what was going to happen. Cherry blossoms, Oh yeah. So as we move on, the thing, it's like, oh, how contrived is that? So, and I mean, as well, like with the conflict in the, and it's so right. That's an adamantanium shield, yeah. And in the very
vibranium, it's vibranium.
Vibranium, sorry, yeah. Vibranium. But so he's in that first fight, right? And how many blokes get up after being hit by that? All of them. He has to fight them all in that first scene. Whereas I'm pretty damn sure that if you got hit by that shield, you'd be knocked out. You wouldn't be getting back up. I mean, so that was a start. You know, the very first one we're talking about?
Yeah, I know the very first one. I know the very first fight scene somewhere in South America.
The old boomerang stuff.
Yeah. With the shield that, as Spider-Man says in Civil War, that thing doesn't obey the laws of physics at all.
I know. But I reckon if you got hit by it, that would be it. You'd be out of there. You wouldn't be. So I thought, no, you know. And it happened on a few occasions. And also there's the other one where there's a big conflict and he's got his mate, isn't he? I'm not sure. Is it Nightwing or whatever?
No, the new Falcon.
Yeah,
Falcon. Joaquin Torres.
So they've got that thing going on, and he's, you know, the Captain America, he's like going through all explosions and all that. And then, you know, someone who's got the same sort of suit, you know, gets, and it's like, where's the consistency? And I think with Marvel, they've lost. Whereas before, as in the Winter Soldier with Black Panther, when he lands and is soft and all that, I'm like, what, have you given up, Marvel? Have you just, you know, given up the whole plot? Because this annoyed me from start to finish, and I thought, you've just been lazy. It's a lazy, contrived, badly acted movie. So that's my take on it.
All right, cool. I think this film might be like a bit of like a Rorschach test of a film, because it's like, what do you see? Show what do you see? Because I actually thought Harrison Ford was really good. I mean, he was different from the Thunderbolt Ross, because the Ross in the comics is all fire and brimstone, and the whole idea is that there's an arc to that character where he is kind of like realizing the error of his ways and trying to be a different person. And a big part of the film with that character is, can you be a different person? Almost kind of like kind of leopard change its spots kind of thing. And there are some scenes in the film that you know are coming, like because there's a big thing about him where the first time you see him in the film, he's kind of like asking about his daughter. He's like, has she gotten in touch with me? Has she gotten in touch with me? And it keeps coming out throughout different bits of the film. He's kind of like, is my daughter here? Is my daughter? And so you kind of know that that's going in a certain way. Shaun, you have a poster in the background that shows Sam Wilson holding up his shield and a red, massive Hulk fist punching the shield. So they've made no qualms about the fact that there's a Red Hulk in this film. Even in the trailers, they tell you who the Red Hulk is, and it's the president. It's Thaddeus Ross. He becomes, and I quite like. I mean, you have Tim Blake Nelson. I liked the fact that it reminded me in a smaller, this film was kind of like Winter Soldier light, if you get what I mean. Like, you know how in the Winter Soldier, there's all these whole things where they're going in the background and they're pulling the strings and they're figuring out what happens and all that kind of stuff. And there is a similar thing like that in this film. Not as good as that, but I quite liked it. Now, when it comes to Vibranium, when it comes to the suit and everything like that, because, Shaun, did you see the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
No.
No, you didn't. Yeah. And this is part of the problem. It's part of the problem with Marvel at the moment, that they put these things in places that people might not have seen, that I explained different. So essentially, Sam Wilson's armor or his suit is not the same as Joaquin Torres' suit, because Sam Wilson's suit was built by the Wakandans.
Right. Okay.
And given to him as a thing. When it comes to the properties of Vibranium, they have been very, very vague as to exactly what Vibranium does and doesn't do. Sometimes it's a drink, sometimes it's a this, sometimes it's a suit, sometimes it's clothing, sometimes it's so they have, and obviously with the way that shield works and everything like that. So I mean, I am not even going to try and convince you that this is a good film or anything like that, because I think this film is a Rorschach test, as I said. Yeah. Some people will see it and they'll see one thing, some people will see it and see another thing. I saw it and I was shocked that I didn't see all the problems that everybody else did. But at the same time, I do not expect anybody to. So let me put it this way. I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was a good sort of middle of the road thing. And as I said the last time we recorded, Sharon, that I had issues with Anthony Mackie. Like I have, so like I said, like Shaun, Anthony Mackie might be my version of your Stanley Tucci. Like the way you are to, the way you are to Stanley Tucci. Yeah, that is. I have issues because there's many times I see Anthony Mackie in a film and I kind of go, stop trying to be Will Smith. You are not Will Smith. and I think in this film he doesn't try to be Will Smith. He doesn't try and do the bantery thing and everything like that. He goes more on the serious end of the scale, which I think worked. And this is probably
better.
Yeah, it's been the most believable I've found Anthony Mackie to be. I like his relationship with Joaquin Torres. I love his relationship with Isaiah Bradley, the older black sort of like super soldier. That character is great. I want to see more about that character because anytime he's on screen, there's just so much pathos, and I love that bit. And it's but hey, anyway, I personally. Yeah, sorry, Sharon.
Yeah, I was just going to say no, but I mean that's one great thing about reviews is what is one person's cup of tea.
Yeah,
is another, and what film's overrated. And I think that so a film that is a Rorschach test or a it's good to have different views.
I just find it so weird how we can see the same thing. You can look and say Harrison Ford was terrible. I'm like, I quite liked him. He was all right.
The only issue I have with it is because I obviously haven't seen it, so I can't review the film. Is that for me, I feel that Marvel have pumped out so much content since the Endgame sort of stuff, all the television series, and I started falling behind, and now I feel like I'm so far behind that any film that comes out, it'll be full of information I don't know about. And so I always feel like it's slightly a spent force as far as I'm concerned. That the more they produce, the more I feel like they're losing me.
Yeah, and I think Tosin picked up on a good point with there's quite a lot in the TV series, all the TV series with like the Doctor Strange and the timelines and all that, and you need to see perhaps some of that. But that wouldn't even if I saw that, that would not change my mind on this film. From that very first scene, I thought, if that shield hits you, you are not getting back up. Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, but it is. Yes. I mean, you're right. If this is a shield that can, repel a bomb, or
a Red Hulk fist.
Yeah, or a Red Hulk fist. If someone throws that at your head should probably be coming off. Your head should probably be
hurt, and that's going to be more painful.
But I feel like that's an age-old comic book problem.
Consistency.
But I think
consistency is the word.
Yeah, but it's an age-old comic book problem, I think.
You cannot change the laws of physics.
No. Yeah, exactly. It's an age-old comic book problem, and I feel like, but essentially, what's happening with the films is what I always thought will happen is that it will get bigger and it will get unwieldy and just like the comics, they'll have to sort of burn it down and start again because it's just too big and we've gone too far.
But someone told me, I haven't seen trailers, but someone told me they're rebooting the Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah, there's a new version. There's a new version. It's funny. I think I put out a tweet about it that it makes it funny because it's called Fantastic Four First Steps, and I find it very, very funny that the acronym for that is FFFS.
Oh right.
and I just got it. But it's a different version of the Fantastic Four. Shaun, you might like it. It looks like it's set in the 60s.
Ooh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it looks like it has a very 60s aesthetic to that. But anyway, I went into Captain America: Brave New World expecting that at most this will be a 3, a Died in the World 3. That's the best it could aspire to. I came out of it really liking it, and as much as I know that half the world is going to yell at me and say that I have lost all credibility and I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to have to give it a 4 because I really liked it.
You're allowed.
Yeah, you're allowed to. That's it. I mean, I would do the same if I liked it. Unfortunately, I didn't like it at all. So
I've already written down a 2 for you, Shaun.
Yeah, you have. Well done. Well worked out. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. Well, it's a 2 from Shaun.
Okay, cool. And now let's go to streaming platforms and let's talk. What's it called? Is it After It Ends or After the End?
One of those.
Okay, cool. After the something.
I think it's After the End.
After the End. Okay, cool. So you start telling us what this is about, and I will make sure that we get the right title.
Okay. Yes, it's quite a compact film, an hour and a half, I think it was. There's been some sort of event. I can't really remember what they said the event was. I think it's some sort of illness. Anyway, lots of the word that you see everything at the beginning. This young man, he's scavenging from the remains of the old world, and he's on a bicycle and he's cycling along, and he's on his own. He's like a late teens, teenager, young man.
Yep.
And he's got his house that he's got like this sort of bunker that he lives in underground. It's sort of disguised, so no one would know that he lives there. He's growing food, he's scavenging, he's collecting water, and he's basically living completely isolated on his own. And you find out that he was a prepper before the apocalypse. So when the apocalypse happened, he was ready and waiting.
Yeah.
But he and it says, I think one of the taglines is that he was prepared for everything except for loneliness, and he wasn't prepared the fact that he might end up being completely on his own in the after the event. And then so he's something happens, and he ends up deciding to has to leave his home, and he's got other prepper contacts, and he thought, well, I've lost contact with them since the end, so I'm going to see if I can go and find, I think it's his uncle, who was also a prepper and has got his sort of, in the Appalachians, he's got his own little bunker that he thought, right, I'm going to see if I can go find my uncle. So he heads off, a couple hundreds of miles to travel there, and as he goes, he encounters a couple of other survivors. One's a young woman, and then there's a group of unpleasant, I could only describe them without being sort of general, as without being too the hillbilly in the mad, incestuous, bit nuts sort of way.
Oh, okay. So essentially, somebody who's made this film has watched Deliverance.
Yes. Yeah. So there's like three brothers. Well, I think they're three brothers who see the end of the world as an opportunity to sort of take advantage of those more vulnerable than themselves, and so they decide to see it as a way of doing what they want and sort of the world. And so they enter into this sort of conflict with our two other survivors, our young man, and he meets this young woman who is sort of traveling as well, and then all sort of these two groups with their different approaches to what life should be after the end have this conflict. That's it, basically.
All right, cool.
Not a long review. Long film.
So how did you think about it, and how many stars would you give this masterpiece? that doesn't look derivative of many other post-apocalyptic things.
Yeah. I thought in some ways they did it very well, what they did, because it was all stripped back. It was all quite stripped back, so it felt like it was filmed very simply. There's nothing was too complicated. The actors who they did their job. But you could say it was competent, but you know what? I'd watched it a week ago and I'd more or less forgotten it already.
Yeah.
And so the best I don't like to be mean. It's like kicking that little puppy who's sleeping there staring at me, because it's a bit mean, but it's barely okay. I mean, it's one of those films I watched to the end because I wanted to have something to review, which is not glowing praise for anything.
It's like, well, I've started watching this film now, and because I started watching this film, I've run out of time to watch anything else to review, so I guess I must finish watching this one so I have something to review.
Well, that one thing, and then I thought, if I watch something else, then I can ditch this one, but at least I've got something in the bag. So I'd give it a 2, because it's okay.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. There's nothing that would sets it apart from any number of other films.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at the poster, and it does look like someone decided to do like a teenage version of The Road, and
and you know what? If you have a member of like Unlimited, the books on Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
It reminded me like a self-published post-apocalyptic novel, and there's loads of them out there, and you always get them free on Unlimited because no one would pay to read it.
Okay, that is brilliant. That is, oh my god! I have the trailers playing in the background with no sound on, and there's, when even without even hearing the sound, you go, that's some terrible acting. Yeah. but there's loads of these on Amazon Prime. They seem to almost exist exclusively on there. So how many stars are we giving this?
2.
2 stars for After the End.
Yeah.
That is the end with that. All right, and now we are going to go back to cinema, and we are going to talk to the thing that Shaun says he wants to hear about, and the film that has taken, as far as I've said, it has taken the blockbuster title from Captain America Brave New World, because this is a film that I honestly, I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you before we get to review. I'll tell you how bad what my experience was. Like, Sharon, you were talking about trying to get a ticket for it. So I went to see 2 films in the same day, because that's what I kind of do on a Tuesday now. I'll go see one that maybe starts on about 6, and I went to see I think Captain America. I went to see Captain America Brave New World, and I thought, afterwards I'm just going to sit there in the cinema and I'm going to book my tickets to go see Bridget Jones, because that starts almost immediately the first one finished. So I sat down there trying to get onto it, and I thought there was something wrong with the app, because when it came up to the seats, it wouldn't let me choose a seat. And I was like, what the heck? So I finished that, went out there, went into the foyer. The foyer was packed, and I was like, what the heck is going on? I was like, what the heck is going on? Okay, never mind. And then I went to try and book the ticket, and I realized that there wasn't something wrong with my app. It was just that there were no seats available, because that viewing was sold out. Thankfully, there was a second viewing, and there were 2 seats left in that viewing, which I might to get into. And this was about 5 days after the film was released. The people at the cinema said that it had been like that every single day for Bridget Jones. And then I went back to the cinema a week later, so earlier on this week, and I asked them, has Bridget Jones shown any sign of slowing down? They were like, and the woman at the front just kind of gave me one of those looks, and I was like, no. That it's shown no sign of slowing down. So this film, I think, is going to do gangbusters. But Sharon, please tell.
Absolutely the same on the island. It was when we spoke to them, and they were like, because we went to get our tickets, and because I'd gone to my app thinking, what's going on? It's like I can't find any seats together. And then it was like there aren't no seats together. So we got the two odd ones as close together as we could get.
Yeah.
And it was like literally even the seats right in front of the screen where you watch the film like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Where sort of like
it was full.
The reverse nosebleed seats.
Yeah, bridge. Yes, I used to call it the Hobbit seats, because I once went to see the Lord of the Rings in one of those, and I was just like, I've got the other thing. But anyway, Bridget Jones, Mad About the Boy.
Yes,
I have to say, I was almost like a reluctant attendee for this, because when I said to my friend, we were meeting up, and she was saying, "Oh, should we go and see Bridget Jones?" And I was a bit like, "Oh," and I said, "Yeah, let's go, because we've seen all the others, so yeah, let's go." So I wasn't really expecting a lot. You know what? I was actually blown away by this film. Absolutely blown away, because I thought the others were fine. I mean, I thought the first one was probably the best. I can't really remember much about the second one.
I really like the third one.
And then the baby one, I thought was okay again, but I didn't love it. But this one actually blew me away. But the story is, Bridget Jones is now 47. And she had been married to Mark Darcy. This is no spoiler. And they've been married very, very happily. And they've got 2 young children. And then Mark Darcy was a human rights lawyer, and he was visiting the Sudan on a humanitarian mission and has been killed.
Yeah.
So Bridget Jones has been a widow for 4 years. And grief is one of those journeys that it's unpredictable. Whoever is on that journey, it's a different journey for everyone.
Yeah.
And so for her, those 4 years are like 4 days. It's fresh, it's raw, it's present. And she's got her 2 young children, so she feels that he is present in her life still.
Yeah.
But she's got to that point where everyone is saying, it's time for you. It's time that you should start living again, that you should start embracing your life again. And the film basically charts that journey when she goes from not even contemplating being able to face life after Mark, and then to thinking, actually, I'm ready to sort of start broadening my horizons again. And she's surrounded by the old people we know. We've got Daniel Cleaver, played by
Hugh Grant.
He's like one of her best friends. Her gang of 4, the ones who used to come and see her.
With Sally Phillips, Shelley Henderson, James Callis.
They're there. Yeah. And so they're all supporting her. But so she decides she's going to step into the world of love again, try to experiment it. And then she meets 2 men. And one of them is a young man, and one of them is a man of her own age, but who she doesn't really see as romantically at the beginning of the film. And as the story goes on, you see how she charts this road through this sort of living again, but then carrying her grief with her. And it's not like, oh, I'm over it. Everything's fine again. I'm back. It's like she can embrace life, but she's also carrying that grief with her. It's a part of her, but it's something that you can carry with you. And the load doesn't get any lighter, but it becomes something that you can live with, and then there's room in her heart to have that love that is the love of her life, but there's room in it for other loves as well. And I just thought this film just absolutely blew me away. I did not expect to be in tears in this film 1 minute and then laughing the next. I did not expect to be so deeply moved actually by it. I was not expecting to be absolutely completely there when she was in going through those sort of grief moments, and then those moments of joy. And I was like, I thought the writing of it was absolutely superb, really. The fact that they've managed to encompass that real pathos, but with the joy of the laughter of what you expect from Bridget Jones.
I feel like they've pulled up a bit of a miracle with this film, because this film is it on the surface of it has done the cardinal sin of being predictable. You kind of know what's going to happen when she decides to go back out there, and when you meet the options she has, the romantic options she has, you know exactly what's going to happen. You know where this is going on. You know what's going to happen in the end. You know all that stuff. And this film has kind of done it's almost kind of like said, okay, we know that stuff is predictable, but as you said, it is more of a character study, more of a drama. And I think one of the geniuses of Bridget Jones is that the people who loved her first and loved her when she was just sort of like, this young 20-something falling over in her face, couldn't do anything right, anything like that, they've grown up with the character. So by the time they've gotten to so there's probably a lot of people who are the age that Bridget Jones is now in the film who are watching it and who have experienced the kind of things that she has experienced. They've experienced relationships that have failed. They've experienced loss. They've lost a loved one. And so all these things, and the film sort of leans into that, and all these things just kind of hit. I mean, they've had kids and they've struggled with it and all that kind of stuff. And all those different things just sort of like hit, because as I said, I was in a packed cinema. I was one of 10 men in the cinema
I could only count about 3 in the cinema that I was in. I said to the Gemma, I said, look around. I said, a man came in. I said, look around. I said, like, there's 3 men in here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually, no. Sorry. I said there were about 5. You're right. There were about 5 of us in there. About 5. And I was sat down there, and there were things where I was watching it, and I was kind of going, well, obviously this is what's going to happen. And then the thing will happen, and then the woman beside me who was there with her daughter would go, oh my God. And I was like, oh. Maybe it isn't as obvious as I thought it was. Maybe I've just seen way too many films. and this woman was such a help, because she reacted to everything in the film. I just let you know it was. And then because Colin Firth is in this film, so you have like all these things, and they use him sparingly. They don't use him. It's not as if they go, right, yeah, well, Bridget's here, so Bridget's going to sit down here and have a conversation with him, because there's nothing like that, which it could have been done really badly. They use him sparingly, and such in a way that every time Colin Firth shows up in the film, it's like a heartbreaker. It's like it's a heartbreaker. And the funny thing is, they use Emma Thompson in the film like at the opposite end as Bridget's gynecologist. And every time she shows up in the film, she is a hoot. Almost every line she says is plain hilarious. And it's just kind of, just the way that it's done, I think it's really more about a film about, it's a film that it's a film that knows it has the other. It's a film that knows the other films exist. It knows the other films exist. It knows people are familiar with them, and therefore it plays on that and everything.
Full of Easter eggs. Full of Easter.
It is full of Easter eggs. Most of them I did not see. But,
we recognised a few.
Yeah, but it is a very good film. I mean, I found myself laughing quite often, and there were bits where I wasn't sure whether I was laughing because it was funny or I was laughing because I felt like I was watching this film with the tribe that the film was built for, and therefore I'd better laugh. If not,
they were laughing.
I'd better laugh, because if not, I might not be allowed to leave.
The man is not laughing.
Why aren't you laughing? Why aren't you crying? Why are your eyes dry right now?
Have you got no heart? But we both absolutely loved this film, absolutely, and we're more than I thought was possible. I mean, I've got the odd criticism. Sometimes I look at Renee Zellweger and I'm thinking, what's going on with your face?
Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but yes, there were bits where people, because she's good at it, but there is this one expression that she seems to be. It's almost like she gurns her way throughout the entire film.
Yeah, there's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, yes, yeah. But anyway, okay, cool. Thank you for saying that.
You can forgive that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So how many stars did you give it?
It's got to be. It's got to be a 4, a high 4. Can I? I don't like
Go for
because
it,
of the
Sharon.
funny
Go for it, Sharon,
expression.
because I think
No, I think
I can
because of the
see by
funny
the pure
expression.
joy on your face that you really, really, this was a great
I did.
surprise. So,
I would only because every now and then I'd be like, the accent would suddenly jar, or she'd pull a funny expression. I'd be like, oh, what's all that? What are you doing with your face? So
Mm.
I'd have to give it a 4, but it's close to me. It's close. It's up there. It's certainly, I'd say the best film I've seen for a while.
Mm.
What's
Yeah,
wrong?
and I think that there's going to be loads of people who go and watch this film multiple times. It is.
Yeah,
It really. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah.
It's online, probably the biggest seller of the year, even the year's only started. But I think it's going to be up there with like the
Yeah.
year's biggest grossing films, definitely.
I think so too. I think so too. And I think well, it's just a really grown up film. It's a grown up film dealing with grown up issues and you don't get many of them nowadays.
No,
And
and I
it's
think the audience was more mature women, as you say. I think when we looked around, obviously I'm in my 50s. My friend Gemma I went with is in her 40s, so she's
mm.
bang on Bridget Jones. We were with our contemporaries. So I think it just goes to show, I think that if they make the film, if you build it, they will come.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You
Yeah.
just have to make there's an audience out there who, as
Oh,
Bridgerton has shown, women will go to the cinema, women will watch drama. If you don't talk down to them, if you make films that they want to see, if you
yeah,
make drama they want to see,
uh,
they'll.
but okay, Sharon, that's all great and wonderful, but to drive your point home, this is not being released in the cinema in the States.
What?
I know. I feel like they are leaving
What?
money
No?
on the table. They are not releasing this in the cinema in the States. So
is
I
it
think
very English then? Is it very English?
well, Bridget Jones has always been very English,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
think that the other ones have done well. I feel like the other ones have done well, and I mean because of their casting, they've always cast really well. So they've
Yeah.
cast people that even if people don't care about the topic, they'll go and look at some people's faces. So yeah, the people go look at Patrick Dempsey. That's the thing. They'll go look at Hugh Grant. But but I think Hugh Grant, what they've done with that Hugh Grant Daniel Cleaver character,
I love him.
I love the way that they have changed him. And
Yeah.
they've changed him in some ways and also not changed him at all.
Yeah, he's the same reprobate he's always been, but
Yeah.
he's got there's a heart underneath that.
Yeah, 100%. I already like that. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Okay, now let's talk Big
Give it a
Boy.
star rating, Toast. What did you give it?
I agree with you. A 4. I agree with
Four.
you. It's a 4. It's a really really good 4. All right, and now let's talk Big Boys. Big Boys is a Channel 4 comedy that is written by a comedian called Jack Rook, and it's autobiographical. And it has some similarities with Bridget Jones because this deals a lot at the beginning, definitely, with grief. There's 3 seasons. There's only ever going to be 3 seasons. It ended recently with the 3rd season. And so obviously Jack Rook wrote it. So the main character is called Jack, played by Dylan Llewellyn from he's the wee English fella from Dairy Girls. And he and so he plays this guy. He plays Jack, and Jack is a guy. When the first time we meet him, he's just about to go off to uni for the first time. He's about to go off to uni, leaving the home, leaving his mom. But about a year, a bit before he went to uni, he lost his dad. He lost his dad to cancer, and that is just really kind of like it sits with him. It's a big thing that so much so that he was supposed to go to uni a year before, but he had to defer because he got up one day and he just couldn't leave bed. And he just really didn't leave his room for a year and just sat down with his mom watching daytime TV and Strictly and all that kind of stuff. And then he finally sort of gets up and goes, I need to go. And when he goes to uni, and it's a big chance for him to sort of explore his sexuality because he knows he's gay, but he never told his parents. So he never got a chance to tell his dad before his dad died. He's never told his mom, and he doesn't want to put more on his mom because he's like, she's dealing enough with my dad being gone, and so he goes to university, and it's a lot of it is about the group of friends that he meets when he gets to university, and how he sort of like starts exploring his own. He starts exploring that, and he starts going like, this is the first time I'm actually going to be able to live my life and figure out what does it mean to be gay? What does it mean for me to actually go out there as a gay person? And this show is brilliant. It is brilliant in that it is a comedy. There's bits that will make you laugh out loud, and then it will turn this round, and then all of a sudden there will be just something that's just so, like, the pathos of it will just be so great. And I think if I was going to boil this film down to one word or one, I think if they're going to say what the thesis of this show, what is this show about? It's about kindness. And it just comes through everywhere. Every now and then, there will always be these acts of kindness, because when he gets to university, he meets this guy, Danny, who ends up being his best friend. But Danny is kind of like, your typical lad who is like, goes, come on, Jack, yeah, let's go out there. We got to go out on the pool. We got to go pull some freshers and everything like that. I came to university to find women and sleep with them and all that kind of stuff. And so he looks exactly like, your typical meathead bloke. And that character, for me, is the heart of the show. The character is the heart of the show. It is there's a voiceover done by the actual guy, Jack Rook, who he voices over the show and everything like that. But the way he does the voiceover, immediately from the first season, it made me think, oh my God, I think this is how this show is going to end. And why is it being done that way? And why is it being... I wouldn't tell you... Essentially, when you watch the show, you understand what I'm talking about with the voiceover. Like, why is the voiceover being done in that way? It is putting me on edge. It is putting me on serious edge, but you end up loving the characters. There's Jack and Danny. There is a Scottish girl called Corinne. There's a guy who's kind of like his gay agony aunt, who sort of takes his hand and leads him through the world of being out and gay, called Yemi, who is like a Nigerian guy who is, and it's just. The cast of characters is brilliant. The jokes are great. The pathos and the drama is wonderful. And this is almost a sieve. It's a sieve.
Excuse me.
Imagine if one of Bridget Jones's... Sharon, this is just for you. Sorry, Sean, this won't make any sense. But imagine if one of Bridget Jones's kids was going off to university and she was left at home, like without Mark Darcy. That's what his mum is like. And his mum is played by Kamel Kaduri. And oh my God, she is brilliant. And when it goes through the whole thing about... how do I deal with the fact that I still love this man who isn't around, but I've got to move on with my life, and then how the nan, so her husband's mom, so like helps her along with it, and her husband's niece, who is like a character called Shannon. It's a brilliant cast of characters. Everybody's firing on all cylinders, and the writing is brilliant. It is brilliant. It is heartfelt. It is kind. It is wonderful, and I love it. I think you should go see it. And there's a lot of the stuff is about how heart-rending the final is. The finale is that just finished recently. It is heartrending, but it was kind of coming right from the very beginning. Like you kind of knew that was it. So I would give Big Boys 4 out of 5. I think it's great. I recommend anybody watch it. And it's a very high 4. It's a very high 4. It's almost a 5, but the only reason I wouldn't give it a 5 is the same reason it took me so long to watch it. When everybody else raves about something, there's a bit of me that just kind of goes, well, fine then. I don't care. It's like you're only raving about it because it's kind of like you're only raving about it because it's cool to rave about it now, just because it's a band talking about his first experiences as a gay person, and all of a sudden, like you're just sort of like virtue signaling and everything like that. And so I didn't watch it for a while. Then I watched it and I thought, I was like, oh. Everything they said about it is true. It is all that. It is good. Oh, but yeah, and that's the only reason I won't give it a 5, because I feel like everybody else is. But yeah, I think it's a very, very high 4. Very, very high 4. All right, Sean, you have been sitting down there for a while, and so I've swept things around and I've decided, tell us about The Last Showgirl. Yeah. Tell us about The Last Showgirl.
It's quite funny. That segues in really good. Bridget Jones and what's your one?
Big Boys. Big Boys.
Right. So okay. So basically, the story is there's the Razzle Dazzle Las Vegas Showgirl show based on the windmill in Paris, and she's
Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge. So, and this dancer's been doing it for decades. She's been doing it for years, and then suddenly they're told that the show's going to close in 2 weeks. So they're closing. She's been doing it forever. It's her whole life. It's like, and she's given up a relationship with her daughter, who turns up in the film. She's to pursue this. To her, this is like, her life really. Yeah. And there's also the stage manager, played by Dave Bautista, who's and they're getting on. She's about 57, I think, something like that. She's well into her 50s, and yeah, so's Dave. And they go out for a meal, and you find something out, which is quite interesting, something that happened in the past. And you've got a lot of relationships. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis, that plays someone who used to be in the stage, but a bit of a gambler, a bit of a lush, and just does cocktail waitresses now and gambles all money. And there's these other younger girls that are in the show, which sort of look at Shelley as a mum figure, and so. But for me, right, I don't very often, for me, I had real empathy for her. I thought, the actor, it was a really, really, I don't know, it's a strange thing to say though, but I was like, I could really, really empathise with. She just loved this. She thought it was artistic. She thought it was great. She thought it was fabulous.
Yeah.
And so it's all about this lead up to the last few shows. And I have to say, she was absolutely brilliant.
Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, Pamela Anderson. And I mean, if it was me, that would be Oscar all over it, because just totally. I don't know. And Jamie Lee Curtis is fun because she's like a real lush. She likes her drinks and stuff. And there's this one scene in the casino where it's obviously they go, "Oh, you can go home now. We don't need you." And there's a couple of younger cocktail waitresses, over the other side. She goes, "Oh, I suppose you want this." Yeah. So and
yeah,
I should imagine. I mean, it's a bit smolty. You would think I wouldn't like this sort of film. I mean, you're talking about Bridget Jones, and you've inspired me that I probably will go and see Bridget Jones purely. But yeah, the acting was incredible. The acting was absolutely incredible. And as I say, I thought, what's going on, Shaun? You're really, because she's got a lot of faults. She's got
the character.
The character's got a lot of faults. You know what I mean? As I say, she's to her, this lifestyle, this show, the razzle dazzle is just like everything, and she doesn't wear a lot of makeup throughout a lot of the film until she actually
gets on stage,
dresses up as the showgirl. So for me, I don't know, I was blown away by this movie.
That's cool.
The image you've got behind you, that is like almost like old Pamela Anderson, isn't it? That's the other Pamela. We know the glam, the highly made up, the really really sort of.
Yeah, it's all about. I mean, there's scenes where
she looks really vulnerable, doesn't she? But she's just got that. She just looks.
I just think that casting Pamela Anderson in this film was a stroke of genius, because I feel like you don't have to try too hard to draw parallels between what's happening in the film and the public image of Pamela Anderson that we know. It's like someone who is like, who has built her character or built her. A lot of it is about her being a showgirl, like a modern version of a showgirl in her life and everything like that. And so the question is, even as she's grown older, as Pamela Anderson has grown older in real life, is she still relevant? Because she cannot be that hot young thing that her entire persona was built around. And it's it's
a mask as well, don't you? You think, has she been wearing a mask for all these years, and are we seeing maybe a more authentic version of?
There's a Pamela Anderson documentary that she did where they essentially followed her around for a couple of days, like where she was living in Canada and everything, that on Netflix. And I would recommend watching it because she goes around and she talks through, because after they released Pam and Tommy, the film about the sex tape and everything like that, which was done without her involvement or permission, then she released this documentary to sort of say, like, almost kind of on my side of the story. And it's
I'm not in that place anymore. I'm not that. And it really does sort of like endear you to her. But like, okay, so Shaun, you love the film. How many stars would you give it?
Okay, well, as I say, I'm going to give this one a high 4, like the others. So this one's going to get a high 4 from me. I mean, it's just great, the whole thing. I mean, the scenes where they were just getting ready to go and, you've only got, okay, ladies, you got 5 minutes, and they're not ready and all that. And it's just all like the back scenes and stuff, and everybody running about and breaking their wings and, so really, this is another high 4. It's funny actually tonight because like the last 3 films we've spoken about have been.
They've all been cool.
They've all been 4s. They've all been 4s. They all seem to have like that sort of bittersweet thing about them, and they all seem to have a bittersweet thing about them. And I think we it's stuff that we probably all went into not so sure that we would like, and then coming out going, oh my god, that's quite good. All right, okay, and now for the final thing, we're going to go to Prime Video and we're going to talk about Secret Level. Now, this is the thing that I said, it comes from the same people who made Love, Death and Robots, and it's similar in that case. So in Love, Death and Robots, it's all about it's about sci-fi stories that they've adapted and they've made into these short films, pretty much. And in this, what they've done is that they have done pretty much imagine Love, Death and Robots, but about video games. So the Love, Death and Robots bit is the bit that I think that you'd like, Shaun. The bit I think you won't like is the video games bit of it. So what they've done is that they've taken they've gone into a whole bunch of different video games, half of which I had never heard of. And hence the name Secret Level. And they've told you a story within the world of that game. The first one is like a Dungeons and Dragons thing, and then there's one there is one that is set. It's not even set within. It is inspired by Pac-Man, and it is the weirdest take on Pac-Man you have ever seen in your life. It is so weird. It is. I mean, there's a bit of it. I'm looking at it and going, "Is this genius or is this?" Kind of like, schoolboy level of I'm going to be edgy. I can't tell. But I'm going to take something that's like, beloved by millions of kids, and I'm going to turn it into this sort of like weird otherworldly thing where people get killed. And it's not even people. It's just weird. It's just weird. Right? I can't even explain that. And some of them are brilliant. Some of them are brilliant because they have like, there's one of them that's set in the world of Unreal Tournament, and there's things that actually make you think, okay, maybe I want to go look at that game. Keanu Reeves shows up in how they do it in some Love, Death and Robots episodes where it's animated, but if you were not looking closely, you would think it was live action. I remember there's one Love, Death and Robots with Michael B. Jordan in it, and I'm like, that's just Michael B. Jordan. There's one with Samara Wiley, same thing, and there's one of this with Keanu Reeves, and it's kind of like not like a mecha. When people get into a big massive suit and like are flying a suit around and they're fighting with massive robots and everything. There's one of them with Keanu Reeves with that in. And I, generally speaking, think that it's quite good. I think some of them are quite experimental, and I'm happy, even the ones I don't like, I'm happy that they're experimental because they're not just trying to give you the same thing over and over again. And I'm happy that they're going out there and they're going... I don't think it's as funny as Love, Death and Robots because there are some episodes of Love, Death and Robots that will just have you laughing out loud. Like, there's the one, is it Mason's Rats or something like that? The one with the farmer and the rats.
Rats, yeah.
That is a brilliant episode.
With like the war.
The war, the rats war, and the rat Terminator that he goes and buys and everything like that. I mean, that's an all-timer episode. There isn't any episode of Secret Level I think that reaches that level. There's some that are brilliant. There's some that are weird. There's some that are like, why did I spend 10 minutes watching that? But then again,
I have to check that out.
Yeah, but then again, it's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes. Yeah. So some of them are quite good. All in all, I think I'll give Secret Level a 3 out of 5. But I watched this months ago, Shaun, and I've been waiting for you to be on the show so I could tell you about it. Because for me, the only reason to review this show is to tell Shaun about it and see if Shaun will go watch it.
I probably will, yeah.
That's the only reason for me to review this show. So that's Secret Level on Prime Video, and I will give that a 3 out of 5. Right, the only thing left to do is to ask you guys, who do you think has won this week? Has it been cinema or has it been Netflix that has won the battle of our eyeballs?
I think this is going to be quite close, I think it's going to be like super close because I know we disagreed on the Winter Soldier, which would have made that a 3. You've just given Brave New World a 3. You've just given that one a 3. Everything.
I think cinema might have just pitched it.
I don't know. I think it might be a draw.
It was close to a draw, but unfortunately, this was the week that Sharon chose to watch After the End.
I forgot about After the End. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, dear. Yeah, After the End. I've forgotten about that one. Right, yeah. So, well, anyway, it's great. It's
so we had a 3, a 4, a 4 on cinema side of things, and we had a 2, a 4, and a 3 on the Netflix and Friends side of the thing. So, yeah, this week it is cinema. We did have a better time in cinema. Shaun's views on Captain America, Brave New World notwithstanding. Notwithstanding, it cinema still survived. So yeah, it is a good one. I would say go watch it. And I might talk about I'm Still Here next week, but I would say I'm Still Here would only have added I'll explain it more about say that for me, I'm Still Here might be a 5-star film. It might be a 5-star film as long as you're okay reading Portuguese for 2 hours.
You need a doof like at the end of EastEnders, don't you? When you go, maybe a 5-star film.
Ding, 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 ding. In Brazilian Portuguese. All right, cool. Until next week when I will be talking about I'm Still Here. I think hopefully Holly will be back, and Holly has some things that she wants to talk about. I cannot remember what they are, but we will talk about those. But until that time, thank you so much for joining us, and it's a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's a goodbye from me.
Thank you. Get involved with us on social media, Netflix via Cinema. Lovely. Thank you for listening for us. I have messed up this outro. Thank you for listening this far.